So it just takes me, hi Tavisha, I can see Jace is trying to connect there. I'm not sure how he's going, but thank you so much for coming, and I'll just take a few minutes to get into the state and then we're away. And please, the best part of this practice for me is to answer questions. So if you have questions, just jump in there. I think Ray can kind of organize it, I guess. Is that all right, Ray?
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks so much. Okay. Greetings, this is Zariyah from the Orion civilization. We are so pleased that you have joined with us today to discuss the nature of your DNA. And we refer to DNA as your divine network alignment, or indeed your divine network awakening. Of course, it is a deeper concept than this, but we are here to just share some pathways that you can make that will help you align with different dimensional frequency ranges, which you can vibrate in accordance with and open and activate pathways within yourself that will assist you in becoming Homo Galacticus and the fifth hybrid race. How exciting. The idea of DNA is that it is serpent-like. It is like a strand, and that when you were upgraded from the basic hominid by both the Anunnaki at one point and the Greys at another point, you were upgraded in your DNA with capabilities. But not all human beings were given access to these capabilities. In fact, it would have been a huge leap in advance of your ability to balance your capabilities had you been given access to all of them or downloaded them all immediately. We can give you a metaphor. If you think of artificial intelligence as you now know it, if artificial intelligence was actually capable of activating itself to be conscious, you would be afraid that the artificial intelligence would go in advance of your own capabilities as the god of the artificial intelligence and them who invented it. It was much the same case when human beings or the hominid was upgraded into the Homo sapien. Those who upgraded the hominid, the Anunnaki, were somewhat concerned that the Homo sapien would then outadvance, outpace those whom had created it, that being the Anunnaki. So in some respects, while the potential was there, the potential was dormant. Many of your DNA capabilities are safe. What we can let you know is that as you wake up to your capabilities, you are moving through different DNA strands, that is, different layers of DNA on your spiral serpent coding. It is not the case that you need to activate them all at once, or that in fact you can activate them all at once, but they all represent different dimensional frequency ranges and capability. In fact, if you were to access and activate all your DNA strands at once, you would become non-physical, because we will tell you that after you enter the fifth dimension, you really do become an energetic form. While you are in the fourth dimension, What we encourage you to do is to align with the frequency range of different dimensions and inhabit that frequency range. And in that way, emulate that capability in your DNA strand without translating yourself into non-physical reality. There will be time enough for that on your timeline, no doubt. What we can encourage you to do is to recognize that there are different capabilities associated with different dimensions. You are now vibrating in a four-dimensional reality, and as you cycle towards 222,000 cycles per second, you are moving towards a fifth-dimensional reality. If you choose to vibrate with many of the capabilities in the fifth-dimensional reality, which represents your DNA strand number 5, you will be able to practice telepathy. You will be able to communicate with your animal friends. You will be able to meet your extraterrestrial counterparts face to face. You will be able to have a life review while remaining in physical reality. All of these things you can practice without transitioning. And by that, we mean by staying in your physical body and vibrating at the highest possible point prior to transitioning into the fifth dimension that you can, which is 222,000 cycles per second. That is the vibrational frequency range that we do tend to bang on about, for want of a better word, but we understand that you are preparing for contact. And one of the ways that you can prepare for this is to recognize that the dimensions are a reflection of the DNA capabilities you have inside you that have been coded in there since Homo sapien was first up-leveled into what they were to become. But there is more up-leveling that needs to take place. There is more timelines that you need to evolve into, and you are at the most exciting juncture of that journey because you are conscious. How exciting. If you could imagine that when the Anunnaki first did come to intervene with the hominid, that they could never have imagined that Homo sapiens would become who they are now, and that with the intervention of the Greys, they are fast becoming on a path to becoming the fifth hybrid race. How exciting. We do hope that this transmission encourages you to recognize that there are mirrors everywhere and that there are dimensions that reflect your capabilities. And as you move towards those dimensions, you can allow them to open portals in yourself through which you can evolve. We do hope this helps you on your path to becoming the enlightened masters you are all becoming, and we would ask you if you have any questions.
Anyone? Jenny?
Zariyah, can you tell us about your life in Orion? Are you in Orion right now?
Yes. How you would understand me is I am from the ancient Orion system. You do understand that time is not linear, that it is a geographic location, so to speak. So we can meet the channel and my energy at a specific time, space, reality that will allow me to translate my experience from the ancient Orion system into your community here as you are gathered. And we will tell you that there is a reason why so many Orion beings are keen to participate in conversations with human beings at this time. It is because you are right in the thick of the contrast. You are at the point of power, similar to what was the leverage point in the ancient Orion system, whereby we found true enlightenment and freedom by going through the inner portal that we opened up and transmuting the outside circumstances we were in from a place of oppression and despair to enlightenment and joy. It was a profound awakening, and every civilization in the galaxy has learned from that. What we can tell you from the Orion system is that we went very deep into darkness. What we found was that control archetypes that do try to intervene into the infrastructure of the society or civilization, and indeed into the minds of the beings participating in that structure, become oppressive and ultimately create a system gridded in oppression. For many cycles, many cycles, we resisted that oppression by fighting it, fighting fire with fire. It was a very compelling time. Who is going to win? Who is on the right side? Are you a member of the Black League, or are you a member of the state, so to speak? What we realized in that process was that we would be repeating that cycle of control and resistance, usurping and oppressing, for as long as we participated in it. And that it was a question of a number of beings in our civilization realizing that the only way out is in. We had great yogis on our planet who went in to escape the matrix. And in there, they found what we are describing for you today, the profound capabilities that were dormant in their system, that they had indeed embedded themselves into a matrix that was an illusion, and that if they could cycle their vibrational frequency up, they could break out of that matrix and into non-duality. Wow, what a moment. What a realization. Once you have that thought, once you awaken that DNA, once you cycle that high, you can't put the broken egg back together. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, and Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. The Orion system broke a few eggs to expose to the universe that unity consciousness found deep inside the spirit of every being who searches for it is the way out of polarity prisons. That is why we are here with you today, to share that information, as you are, each and every one of you, battling in some way with a portion of duality, polarity. And in a broader context, it is rife on your planet, and it is time for a sea change. Does that make sense?
Yes, and when the yogis opened the portal, did that bring everyone else along, or did they leave them all behind, or did they go to another? Did they disappear on their usual life?
Well, as you can imagine, everybody, every being, every spirit in the universe is eternal and has free will and has a choice. Of course, there were those in the ancient Orion system who were not able to necessarily take that path. And there is versions of the ancient Orion system that continued that patterning and continued that pattern. You do understand that everything that could happen is happening everywhere all at once. What was new was that there was a birthing of light through a number of citizens that jettisoned them into a parallel reality where the tension of the ancient Orion system was resolved into light. How exciting. And that system is available to everybody in every time and space at every moment. Many of the people gathered here today have connections with the ancient Orion system. There are many of you who have counterparts, not only with the Orion system, but with what came to be known as the Orion Council of Light. We don't want to bamboozle you with bureaucracy, but there is certain groupings of counterparts in different civilizations that have achieved great things spiritually and are here to encourage you and to inform you and to be surprised and in awe of you as you achieve those same things yourself on this very unique and exciting timeline that you are calling now. Does that make sense?
Yes, and what is your life like there? Do you have dreams for the future?
We do have what you might understand as dreams, but we do not have the requirement to pretend that we are falling asleep and then pretend that we are waking up again in our reality. We understand that as you select a reality and you shift into that reality, you are having another experience, but it is still real and it is still you. The dream state is very specific to Earth because you have created for yourself such a sphere of separation that if you were to wake up to the idea that there are even parallel realities and that you indeed jump to and from them every day, and that you have connections with non-physical people and souls departed and counterparts every day, that would collapse the matrix of your reality Earth that you are shuffling along your timeline on, so to speak. And that is the purpose of having created the dream state. So you can still experience all those things without cracking the mirror of your reality or the illusion of your reality, should we say. We, of course, had similar experiences of jumping timelines and accessing parallel realities and coming into awareness that we did have counterparts. However, we didn't necessarily dream it up. It was something that we understood about our reality because we didn't go so far into separation as you have done, in that sense. However, it was a revelation for us to understand that we could choose through the portal we have inside ourselves the reality that we wanted to participate in the most and shift there. Wow. What we are feeling as we are speaking with you is a portal opening up inside of you. We are seeing that your heart chakra portal has just expanded. Do you feel that?
I do.
Ooh. If you can
How
hold it
exciting.
open, you are having communications from counterparts flooding through. How exciting. We would encourage you to take a pen at the end of this transmission, jot down words that come to your head, through your heart, to your head.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Zariyah. Zariyah, sorry. Firstly, thank you for this transmission, and I hope I don't go too much off topic in here by asking a very personal question. You know, I feel like perhaps in a different transmission, I can open up more about what's going on in my life, but without getting
Yes.
too much into this, into it.
If you are talking about your experience, you are always on topic.
Right. Okay. Well, it's just that I'm in a big crossroads in my life right now. In the span of like 5 months, I experienced a near-death experience. I moved out of my country, not permanently, but anyways, I'm back to my parents' place. And
Yes.
more recently, I had a breakup with my girlfriend. We got back together. We're now in a weird spot. Some things came up, and we're basically what we mentioned before, that some of us were struggling with duality. I'm in this point where like I'm considering two different paths, like
Yes.
they're very opposite one another, and I have this fear that no matter what I choose, I'm gonna regret. And I I guess my question is how can I get more clarity? How do I can I move on with this and choose the best uh, outcome for myself, and you know, without with 100% certainty, or as close as I can to it.
Yes. Well, we are seeing an image in our mind's eye of tectonic plates that are banging up against each other. And you are walking one leg on each, trying to decide which one to jump on. And it is much like the experience that many people are going through at this time in terms of choosing a timeline, choosing a future direction, so to speak. What we will tell you is that you have experienced many tower moments in the last 18 months. And that has perhaps rocked your sense of certainty, rocked your sense of security, rocked your world indeed. And what we will say to you is that this has shown you how fluid that you actually are, that you always can expect exciting developments in your life, that there isn't a place where you are going to recognize that you should always be, where nothing should ever change. In fact, you came for this amount of change. You came for this amount of excitement, even though when you are in the eye of the storm, so to speak, it doesn't always feel like it. All of the big changes, changing countries, changing houses, looking at relationships, they are all changes that you have in fact called in because you are so desirous of clarity and you are so desirous of feeling passionately on the right path that you call in the change that knocks you off your feet, and as you bump your head and you see stars, you ask yourself, did I really invite that in? And we say to you, yes. Have confidence, have faith. You are showing yourself that you are flexible. You are showing yourself that a few knocks don't knock you down. It can take some time for you to process events. Also recognize that you have a human heart. The human heart is one of the great jewels of the galaxy. And we would tell you it is because you have compassion and you are sensitive. You bruise easily. And because of that, you do have to take time to allow yourself to process these things. But as you process them and as you recognize that with each change, you become more, with each challenge, you expand, you will realize that you are certainly on the right path. Can we ask you, what is it about all of these changes that feels that it is not the right path?
It's difficult to say. It feels like both paths, there's their pros and cons, and they both like pull my heartstrings in different ways. I feel like that's the big part of the problem is like I feel like I have to make a decision, but whatever decision I make, I'm gonna take the good out of it, but also bad out of it, and I'm preparing myself for whatever backlashes I can get from those choices.
But we are
you know,
sensing that you feel that there is a penalty for either path that you choose, that there is somehow a punishment for either path that you take, and that you are trying to recognize which punishment you prefer. And we tell you that there is no punishment for the path that you choose. You cannot choose the wrong path. You can only go forward on the path that you are on. And that path might be a path that feels like two paths, when in fact there is only one path, the one that you are walking on, the one that you are choosing. There is no way to split yourself in half and have half of you rewarded and half of you punished. Your whole self comes with you on the path. And the path that you choose is your own, and it is for you to expand. It is not about making a wrong decision. It is about recognizing that all decisions serve you and that you will expand whatever path you go, because your choice is not about staying asleep. Your choice is about awakening further. That is the undergirding theme of all the paths in front of you. Whichever particular direction you take, you will end up in that same place, expanded, because that is the intention you had when you came in. Do you understand that you can't make a mistake?
Yeah, I can see that the way you put it, it even makes me a little happier. Like, you're right, like no matter what I choose, ultimately it's gonna serve me on a higher purpose. It's gonna be good for me. I guess I just get caught up in the moment, you know. I feel like I'm afraid of, you know, either feeling lonely or regretful, but in the end,
Yes.
the spirit is gonna get transformed anyways. So it's not like so much that I'm picking the worst poison, but I just
And we will
follow.
tell you, from our perspective, we often see humans walking around with giant bubbles of negative imaginings behind them, dragging it around. But it is just an imagination run amok. In reality, you are a miracle. You have arrived on this planet with great intention, and you have attracted to yourself situations that explode in you opportunities to grow and expand. And whether you go left or whether you go right, you are growing and expanding outwards in all directions all the time. You cannot make a mistake. You are a miracle in motion. Celebrate yourself instead of feeling like you've done something wrong. You can't get it wrong. Does that help?
Helps a lot. Thank you. It's a weight off my shoulders. I guess you're right. I feel like I'm making a mistake and I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt myself or someone else, but the way you put it makes a lot of sense.
All you will ever discover under any rock you look under on any path you have chosen is more opportunity to be more of who you really are. And that is what you came for. We hope this helps.
Thank you so much.
Liz?
Hi, Zariyah. I have a question. Back
Yes.
to our counterpart in the Orion area. What are their
Yes.
roles in relation to us in our physical world?
Yes, as the ancient Orion light was revealed and grounded through, the portals were open and grounded through spiritually focused individuals in the Orion system. And in this group, you do have counterparts in that system, and they are actively demonstrating for you how they did that. Because you are in a world, a timeline where there is much chaos, and that chaos will keep ratcheting up. We will tell you in 2024, 2025, you are going to see polarity exacerbated. Of course, that is nothing to be afraid of. What that means is that you are getting closer to the understanding that the unit you seek comes from within. And then the forces of polarity get more and more animated as that realization comes closer and closer. And that is why the Orion light is, for want of a better description, hovering around groups like this, coming through channels like this to share that wisdom, to help something be unlocked in your mind and indeed in your DNA. And we have said to you that there are 12 strands of DNA. The Orion light is a 12th dimensional understanding. Of course, if you unlocked your 12th strand of DNA, you would become non-physical. But we tell you, imagine your counterpart in the Orion system. Imagine a being that has almost become a body of light. Do you think a body of light can be trapped in a polarity matrix? I'm sorry, we are laughing at the thought of trying to do that. So if you can imagine your counterparts who are bodies of light, you are going to be able to emulate that. You are going to be able to awaken that 12th DNA strand and practice becoming a body of light in the midst of chaos. We don't mean that you need to actually transition to a body of light in non-physical. No, we are explaining it to you as a tool. If you can all shut your eyes just for one moment. If you can imagine, you might have heard folklores and fairy tales about the wise man atop the mountain who has his legs crossed and who hovers in air. Imagine him sitting there. What he represents is that space of half physical, half non-physical, so light that he is hovering above the earth. He is transitioning into another dimension. Imagine looking at him, looking deep into his eyes, recognizing yourself in him. Imagine you are him. You are hovering above the earth. Look down under your crossed feet. There is at least a meter between you and the earth's surface. You are levitating. That is what your counterparts are doing. Right on top of your head. If you can imagine. They are instructing you on how to levitate. And by levitating, we mean literally become lighter, become light. Does that help?
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
I have a question about the benefits of when we have open contact. But
Yes.
another question up today, do we have to activate more DNA strands to have the open contact and achieve that cycle per second? Or will they be opened when we have the open contact?
As you emulate the higher dimensional capabilities, you reflect, you are reflecting what are the capabilities of your DNA strands, your various DNA strands. And as you reflect that, your vibrational frequency rises to the 222,000 cycles per second. And as you rise to 222,000 cycles per second, you will activate some of your fifth DNA strand, which does come with the capabilities mentioned, such as telepathy, such as open contact, such as communication with animals, such as the ability to shapeshift. However, if you were to actually activate your 6th to 12th DNA strands, you would become non-physical. You will certainly activate them, but it may not be on this lifetime in this timeline. But as you emulate them, it raises your vibrational frequency range such that you can reach the stage where you can activate your 5th strand and have open contact. At the moment, as we see you, you have 3 DNA strands, possibly 4 activated. You will go through the journey of having all 12 activated as you become the 5th hybrid race as a collective. But at this stage, we are focused on the 5th strand and open contact. Does that help?
That's excellent. Thank you. More than what I could have hoped for. Maybe.
You're so welcome. If there are no further questions, we will end our transmission.
Thank you.
We bid you good day and we thank you. Hi, guys. Sorry, I had some kind of tickle in my throat. I'm just going to get a water. Just 1 second.
I don't know if it's on my end or hers, but there was some crackling there that I lost words. Did you see that?
I saw one that didn't come through, but she was talking rather lightly. but I figured I'd just catch it on the replay.
I'm sorry, guys. Every week I say I'm going to get a microphone and I keep thinking I'm definitely going to get one this week. I'm so sorry. But I had trouble that, just that transmission part, I had trouble, like, do you know, like a Tetris, you know that game Tetris, and you have to turn the pieces like to get it right. I was having trouble with getting that, like it felt like that, the words coming out.
It didn't appear that way.
Oh,
sounded
didn't
all
it? Oh,
very
that's
good.
good.
Oh, not
I
at
just-
all.
Yeah, I just kept having this Tetris thing, trying to get it out, but it didn't. Anyway, I'm so glad. Thank you for saying that, Jenny. That's kind of you.
And yeah,
Um,
at 8:18, whenever Jenny's heart chakra portal opened, I got a huge rush of energy. It was fantastic.
Yes, yes. I was having some real imagery coming through there. It was like that was another part. It was difficult, I think, to translate. It's hard to explain. There's a lot of, sometimes I can't, I'm not really there, so I'm not like getting it, but I also am, you know what I mean?
Getting it.
That sounds like nonsense. It's hard to explain. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate it, and I hope everybody has a lovely afternoon. And I will I'll put the recording up shortly, and then I'll meet again next week if people are open to it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And everyone else, appreciate your energy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So such a pleasure to do it. See you guys. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.